The little girls cried loudly as their mother, Grace, threw them onto the bed and began stuffing her clothes into a bag. Her face was tight with anger, the kind that made her look ready to fight the world. Mr. Daniel, her husband, spoke softly. "Grace, the babies are crying. They need you." But she answered sharply. "They're no longer my concern. I'm leaving." Her hands moved quickly, folding clothes with fury. "Please don't go," Daniel begged. "If not for me, then for the sake of these innocent children." Grace turned, her eyes cold. "I didn't marry you to suffer. Since you can't give me the life I want, I'm done." She zipped her bag and added cruelly, "To be honest, I don't even care if they live or die." With that, she stormed out, slamming the door. Daniel stood frozen for a long time, listening to the echoes of the slamming door. The twins, Ella and Nora, only 3 months old, wailed in confusion. Slowly, Daniel lifted them into his arms and rocked them gently. "It's all right, my angels," he whispered. "Daddy's here." The room felt empty, stripped of love. Yet, as he looked at their tiny faces, his heart strengthened. "I may not have riches," he murmured, "but I will give you all the love in the world." The babies calmed, their cries fading into soft breathing. Daniel sat with them through the night, holding them close. When dawn came, the struggle began. No food, no money, and 2 mouths to feed. He had no time to despair. He had to act. Daniel went out and hired an old wheelbarrow. He tied the babies securely to his chest and headed toward the busy streets, looking for work. People stared. Some pitied him. Some whispered behind his back. One kind woman approached, pressing a few bills into his palm. "For the babies," she said kindly. He bowed deeply in gratitude. But others were cruel. "When you were enjoying yourself," one woman shouted, "you didn't think of responsibility." Daniel said nothing. His only thought was to survive for his daughters. By evening, he had earned enough for milk and baby supplies. He bought what he needed and returned home, tired but proud. That night, he prayed over the twins. "God, help me raise them," he said softly. His eyes glistening with tears, days turned into weeks. Daniel's strength amazed everyone. He carried his daughters everywhere, pushing loads by day and soothing their cries by night. One morning as he prepared to leave, a neighbor called out, "Daniel!" It was Mama T, an elderly woman with a warm smile. "Let me keep the babies today," she offered gently. Daniel hesitated. "Are you sure?" She nodded. "The sun is harsh. I'll take care of them like my own." After a pause, he agreed. That evening, he returned to find Ella and Nora giggling happily in Mama T's arms. He was overwhelmed with gratitude. From that day forward, Mama T became part of their lives, a motherly guardian when Grace had abandoned them. Years passed. Ella and Nora grew into bright, cheerful girls. They didn't attend fancy schools, but Daniel worked tirelessly to pay their fees. He taught them kindness and humility. "Never forget where you came from," he often said. The twins adored their father. He wasn't wealthy, but his love made them rich in heart. When they finished high school, Daniel could hardly believe it. On graduation day, he wept quietly as they received their certificates. "My girls," he said proudly, "you've made me the happiest man alive." When Ella and Nora received their university admission letters to study medicine, their joy knew no bounds. They rushed home, waving the papers. "Daddy, we made it," they cried. Daniel smiled, pretending to puff out his chest. "Now I can walk around like a big man," he joked. They all laughed. But later that night, Daniel sat alone. His smile faded. He had no money to pay their fees. He whispered to himself, "I've failed them." Then, clenching his fists, he muttered, "No, I'll do whatever it takes." At dawn, Daniel went from house to house, begging wealthy men to help. "I'll work for you," he pleaded. "Take me as your servant. Just help my daughters go to school." But one after another they refused. "Medicine is expensive," one man said coldly. find another way." Daniel left each house with tears in his eyes. By evening his body was weak, but his heart was heavier still. For 2 days he said little, hiding his pain from his daughters. Finally, Daniel called Ella and Nora into his room. "My daughters," he began, "I promise to give you the best, but I can't afford your education. I'm sorry." His voice broke. The girls stared at him, their eyes full of love. "Daddy, don't apologize," Nora said softly. "You've done more than enough." Ella added, "We'll find another way." They hugged him tightly, tears streaming down their faces. That night Daniel prayed, his voice trembling. "God, please make a way." The girls heard his cries and wept silently in their room. The next week, Ella and Nora deferred their admission. "We'll work and save," they decided. After days of searching, they found jobs as waitresses in a small restaurant. They smiled at every customer, served food politely, and saved every coin. Men tried to flirt or tempt them, but they stayed focused. "We're not for sale," Ella told one persistent man. Together, they prayed every night with their father, asking God to bless their efforts. After months of hard work, they saved enough to rent a tiny shop. They opened a small eatery, painting it bright and clean. Daniel helped carry chairs and wash plates. They named it Twin Delight. The first few days were quiet, but soon word spread. Customers loved their food and their sincerity. Business grew steadily. One night, Daniel smiled at them and said, "You see, God answers prayers." One evening after closing, Ella found a black briefcase under a table. "Someone forgot this," she said. They opened it carefully and gasped. Inside was a thick stack of money and important documents. "We must return it," Nora said. They took it home, and Daniel nodded in approval. "You did right," he said. "The owner will come." The next morning, a man in an expensive suit appeared outside the restaurant, looking anxious. "Did you find a black briefcase?" he asked. "Yes," Ella replied, handing it to him. He looked relieved. "Thank you," he said, quickly taking it and leaving without another word. Nora laughed. "Not even a tip," she joked. They shrugged it off and went back to work. Around midday the man returned, smiling warmly this time. "I'm Adrian," he said. "You saved my family's future. Those documents were priceless. I owe you everything." Ella and Nora were surprised. He didn't hand them cash. Instead, he took them to a grand building. "This restaurant is yours now," he said. The twins stared in disbelief. "Are you serious?" "Completely," he replied. Tears filled their eyes. They thanked him again and again. They ran to find their father at the market. "Daddy!" they shouted, hugging him tightly. "The man gave us a new restaurant." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "God is good," he whispered. That night they sat together, laughing and dreaming. For the first time in years, the future looked bright. As the new restaurant thrived, Ella told her father, "It's time you rest, Daddy." Nora added, "You've done enough. Let us take care of you now." Daniel hesitated, but seeing their determination, he agreed. From that day, he became the restaurant's silent king, resting, smiling, and watching his daughters prosper. The twins never forgot Mama T. She was old and frail now, so they renovated her home and paid her medical bills. "You'll never lack again," Nora said, holding her hand. Mama T smiled weakly. "God bless you, my daughters. You make an old woman proud." One day, a weary woman walked into the restaurant, asking softly, "Please, is there any job? I can wash dishes." Ella and Nora exchanged glances. They didn't have vacancies, but something about her moved them. "All right," Ella said. "You can start tomorrow." They didn't know she was Grace, their mother. A few days later, Daniel visited the restaurant. As he walked into the kitchen, he froze. There washing dishes was Grace. His heart pounded. Quietly, he stepped out and found his daughters. "That woman," he said slowly, "is your mother." The twins were speechless. "What?" they gasped. "Yes," he said softly. You've never seen her because I burned her photos long ago. They walked back into the kitchen. Grace turned, saw Daniel and went pale. Grace, he said quietly, these are your daughters. Tears filled her eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered. Please forgive me. Ella's face hardened. Take this money and go, she said. You're not my mother. Mama T is. Her voice trembled with anger. Nora held her sister gently. Let's not push her away, she said softly. She's broken. That night, the family sat in silence. Daniel sighed. She hurt us, yes, but forgiveness heals. After a long pause, the girls nodded. The next day, they gave Grace a better role at the restaurant, matron of operations. She seemed grateful, but shadows lingered in her eyes. For weeks, Grace behaved well. But soon her temper returned. She shouted at workers and scolded customers. The restaurant's once warm atmosphere grew tense. We need to talk to her, Nora said. Before things fall apart. They sat Grace down. Mother, your behavior is driving people away, Ella began. Grace snapped. I'm your mother. You can't tell me what to do. Ella frowned. You're here to help, not destroy what we built. Grace's face twisted with resentment. You treat your lazy father like a king but give me only a salary. Ella's anger flared. Don't you dare insult my father again. The argument ended bitterly. Exhausted, the twins went home and spoke with Daniel. If you let her stay, she'll destroy everything, he said softly. They agreed. The next morning they told Grace she was fired. She shouted, Your father poisoned your minds, and stormed out. Though hurt, they later opened a small shop for her, ensuring she wouldn't starve. With Grace gone, the restaurant flourished again. Customers returned, laughter filled the air, and success soared. Ella and Nora opened new branches across cities. Daniel was content, no longer burdened by the past, surrounded by love and peace. One evening, Nora said quietly, I don't want to study medicine anymore. I love this business. Ella smiled. Me too. This is our calling. They both laughed. Our father prayed for this life. We'll keep his legacy alive. In time, both sisters found love. Two men who admired their strength and kindness proposed. The twins decided to marry on the same day. The house buzzed with excitement, but they worried about leaving their father alone. Daddy, Ella began gently, we can't bear to see you alone. Nora continued. We've met someone, Ruth. She works at one of our branches. She's kind, a widow with 2 children. Daniel blinked. You've chosen a wife for me. They giggled. Yes, Daddy. You deserve happiness too. After meeting Ruth, Daniel was impressed by her grace and warmth. He thought deeply for 2 days before agreeing. She's a good woman, he said softly. Maybe God is giving me a second chance. The day of the wedding arrived. A triple celebration. Daniel married Ruth, while Ella and Nora married their chosen men. The church overflowed with joy. Mama T, their lifelong guardian, stood proudly as mother of the day. Laughter and tears mingled in the air, a symbol of love restored. As the evening sun set, Daniel looked around at his family. His daughters radiant, his new wife smiling, Mama T clapping joyfully. His heart swelled with gratitude. God, he whispered, you've turned my pain into joy. The twins hugged him from both sides. We love you, Daddy, they said together. And I love you more, he replied, his voice trembling with pride. It was the perfect ending to a journey of faith, sacrifice, and love, proof that even from abandonment and pain, beauty can still rise.